Welcome to Adding Dollars. In this video, I'll be going over my weekly update on the highest volatility stocks, so stocks that are paying the highest premiums for covered calls and cash secured puts. Before jumping into this week's scan, if you're new to cash secured puts or covered calls, make sure to check out the videos in the description. Now let's go ahead and jump into this week's high volatility scan. As always, I'm in the Thinkorswim platform and I'm on the scan tab, and we are going to be scanning the S&P 500. So let me go ahead and switch to that. If you want to see me scan a different list of stocks or hear my analysis on any other stocks, feel free to leave that down below in the comments. After clicking scan, we now have a list of all of the stocks in the S&P 500 sorted by highest implied volatility at the top and then descending from there. And this is after hours data, so some of this may look different when the market opens or when this video comes out. At the top of the list, we have Super Microcomputer, currently with an implied volatility of about 88%. We've looked at this one a couple times, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that, but it does look like a lot of stocks have earnings coming up relatively soon, so most likely all of their volatilities will continue to increase as we get closer to earnings. Let's go ahead and look at Modna, one that we haven't looked at in a while. Looks like it has earnings coming up on August 1st, currently trading at about $121 with an implied volatility of about 65%. We can now jump over to the trade tab and look at the kinds of premiums it is currently paying out. I'm going to be looking at the 8 days out option, so options expiring the following Friday. And I have this custom column on my platform called percentage premium that quickly calculates the percentage profit for selling a specific strike price for a cash secured put and gives you an estimate for selling a covered call as well. If you're interested in adding this to your own platform, feel free to check out the link below where I have free instructions on how to add this to your own platform. Now let's go ahead and jump into cash secured puts for Modna. It looks like you could make about 1.07% selling the 114 strike price cash secured put. This means you would probably end up collecting about $120 in premium for selling this cash secured put. And the risk here is if you did end up getting assigned on this position, and typically you get assigned when the stock closes below your cash secured put strike price at expiration. And in that case, you would need $11,400 in order to purchase 100 shares. On the covered call side, you can buy 100 shares right now for about $12,132, and then you could go ahead and sell the $122 call options and collect about $360 in premium for selling that, or about 3% in 8 days. Let's jump back to the scan tab and look at a couple more. Let's go ahead and look at AMD. We haven't looked at this one in a while either. Looks like it has earnings coming out on July 30th, currently trading at about $155 with an implied volatility of about 57%. Jumping back to the trade tab, let's go ahead and look at the premiums it's currently paying out. On the cash secured put side, it looks like you can make about 1.49% selling the $150 cash secured put. This means you would collect about $122 in premium for selling this cash secured put. But the risk here is if you did end up getting assigned, you would need $15,000 in order to purchase 100 shares of the stock. On the covered call side, you could buy 100 shares right now for $15,577. And then you could go ahead and sell the 157.5 call options and collect about $390 to $395 in premium, or about 2.52%. Let's jump back to the scan tab and look at one more. Let's look at Meta. It's one we haven't looked at in quite a while. It looks like it has earnings coming out on July 31st, currently trading at about $475 with an implied volatility of about 53%. And this implied volatility will most likely continue to increase as we get closer to the actual earnings date. Jumping back to the trade tab, let's go ahead and look at the premiums for Meta. Starting with cash secured puts, it looks like you could make about 1.16% selling the $460 cash secured put. This means you would probably end up collecting about $525 to $530 for selling that. But the risk here is much higher because it is a higher price stock. The risk here is if you did end up getting assigned, you would need about $46,000 in order to buy 100 shares of the stock. On the covered call side, you could spend $47,585 to buy 100 shares, and then you could go ahead and sell the $480 call options and collect about $1,000 in premium for selling that, or about 2.09% in 8 days. Jumping back to the scan tab, feel free to pause the video and take a look at the full list of highest implied volatility stocks for the S&P 500. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. And if you want to help support the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.